Toys to Life thing and Skylanders and all that stuff. But
Disney Infinity and the Skylanders, right?
yeah, but I mean, it's still the whole point of someone just sitting there just forcing, like the idea of locking content behind a Toys to Life thing. I don't like it.
No, that I think that was actually a big issue I had with the Twilight Princess Wii U port, where there was an extra dungeon locked behind the Wolf Link amiibo, which is already pretty hard to acquire.
The Wolf Link amiibo? No, I have that amiibo.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I got it with the game. Because if you got Twilight Princess, it came with the game. If you bought the physical version.
I'm guessing this is more for like a used copy purchaser or digital.
Yeah, but I mean, Nintendo's not that bad. The only thing where I'm like, okay, that's too much is where they unlocked like 2 modes in Metroid Dread behind an amiibo. And I was like these are modes that you would have unlocked in previous Metroid games. Like hard mode you would have unlocked just by beating the game once. Like, why is this locked behind an amiibo? But another reason I didn't buy that game. But anyway, everyone is here. The usual suspects are here. So let's have everyone introduce themselves, starting with the lady first, and then we'll dive into these stories.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, to the BSbusters Annual Podcast. I'm July Moonstar, and we're doing Hangar 13.
Yeah, Hangar 13 has a news story. Okay, Kenoshi or Louis, which one wants to go first? Or do we do this Thunderdome style? Okay, Louis, go.
Name's Louis. Glad to be back again. Welcome all.
Yes, Kenoshi.
It's Kenoshi Abominito. Video game movie that actually did well at the box office.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is now more profitable than Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Although, I put an asterisk next to that because I think Sonic the Hedgehog 2, we don't know if the marketing budget was the same or if it was less because it could ride off of the coattails of the first movie. We don't know.
Yeah, I think more people knew about Sonic 2 than they did about 1.
Okay, so it might be more profitable then.
I mean, Sonic 1, when they first showed it off before they fixed it, left a lot of bad taste in people's mouths. So
because they were like, "What is that fucking mutant monstrosity that is Sonic the Hedgehog?"
Yeah, because the CGI was just so bad. And,
well, someone thought it was going to be. They wanted it to look more like an actual creature, and not like they have now, where he looks like he does in the video game, like in the 3D video games, which makes more sense.
Yeah, he looks like a. Like the thing about characters like Sonic and of course like the Pokemon movie, they do a lot better when they look like animatronic plushies.
Yeah.
More so than actual creatures.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say they look better when they look like the Pokemon movie works because the Pokemon look like they would if you actually translated the 3D models of the Pokemon. In like the 3D games to with a better filter, because you can see the fur and stuff and textures and stuff. That works. If you go too realistic, has anyone seen those that digital artist who does like realistic Pokemon and it looks horrific, or realistic Mario? I'm like, God, no, never.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
No, it reminds me, it's like a worse version of all those. What if we got this Nintendo game in the Unreal Engine 5? Nintendo hire this man videos.
Well, I mean, I've seen 2 types of those videos. I've seen the ones where they try to make it ultra realistic and it just looks ridiculous, and I've seen the ones where they've taken that game and they've just ported it over into the Unreal Engine and it just to run it on a high end spec or whatever, and I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. But I agree with you that people trying to make things that are cartoony ultra realistic just doesn't work.
I mean they're meant to look like cartoons for a reason. I mean, obviously they're not supposed to look real.
Yeah, unless you're insane. Unless you're completely insane. Some people do that though. Some people do that. But anyway, so yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is now more profitable than the first Sonic the Hedgehog. It is now the most profitable video game movie of all time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give kudos to Sega for doing something that Nintendo don't. They actually made a good video game movie.
Yeah.
Legitimately good. I don't mean like Street Fighter 2 that's so bad it's good, or Mortal Kombat that's just that's fun good. Like a legitimately good video game movie.
Yeah.
I didn't
While
think
I
they could pull it off.
myself don't plan to see it, I won't say it. I won't bash it at all. I'm pretty sure it has merit.
I saw it because I was
Okay.
like, I wanted to see something, and I was like, why not? And like I said, because I saw the first one, and I'm like, wow, this movie is terrible, except Jim Carrey saves it. Like, if you took Jim Carrey out of the first Sonic movie, the movie would not be nearly as good as it is. Like, it would be terrible.
Yeah.
Because there would be no one to save it. Like, you couldn't hinge that first Sonic movie just off of like CGI Sonic or James Marsden. Like it wouldn't work. Like you would need a foil for a CGI character, because James Marsden in the first movie is just like he's acting against a something that's not there, like a tennis ball on a green screen. And,
yeah, the prequel effect there. Yeah.
And he's doing the best he can, but it's like, James Marsden isn't that great of an actor. He's good, but he's not great. So you need a foil for you need a human cartoon character for the CGI cartoon character, and Jim Carrey pulls it off, like 100%. If you got any other actor to play Dr. Robotnik in that movie, and they didn't have that same level of energy as Jim Carrey in that first movie, the first Sonic the Hedgehog would have been fucking terrible, and I stand by that. Like there's some actors who, if this character is not in this movie, it would be terrible. But Jim Carrey in some of his best comedies, if Jim Carrey wasn't there, it would be shit. Like The Mask or Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Take Jim Carrey out of those movies. See how good they do.
No, I can believe that. In fact, that's really the only thing I kept hearing about the first one a lot. Outside of the recovery from them redesigning Sonic after that first awful reveal, it just, at first glance, I always thought it was just another one of those. I hate to say it, one of those Alvin and the Chipmunks, Scooby Doo like movies.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought it was going to be bad, but then I heard that Jim Carrey was really good in it, and I'm like, well, maybe it'll be returned to like 90s era Jim Carrey. And then I watched it, I'm like, this is a return to The Mask, Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, like human cartoon Jim Carrey. And I loved it. I was like, this is great. I'm watching this movie just so I can see Jim Carrey just crack my ass the fuck up. But the thing about his version of Dr. Robotnik is that not only is Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik like he's insane and funny, but there's also a hint of menace to him, where it's like, this motherfucker's gonna kill someone. Like he's dangerous. And then you get the second movie where he's gone, not only like in the first movie he's going insane, but he's still maintaining. The second movie he's fucking crazy. He's completely off his rocker. But he's crazy like a fox because he's got a plan. He's got a plan. So yeah, the second Sonic movie better than the first one. It doesn't have as much Jim Carrey, but they actually have a plot running through that makes fucking sense. And the interplay between Sonic and Knuckles, and Sonic and James Marsden actually works really well. So yeah, congratulations for Sega for creating the most profitable video game movie thus far of all time. Hopefully this Mario movie can surpass it. But
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical myself, since I'm a little familiar with that animation studio Illumination, and I don't think I've liked a single thing they've ever animated.
yeah. Well, I like the Minions. I like the Minions. I liked not the Minions. I liked Despicable Me, and I like Despicable Me 2. But I even like
You
the
guys are
third
saying
movie.
this before a trailer is shown.
Well, I mean, because it's Illumination, and while there's stuff that I like from Illumination, there's also a ton of stuff I don't like from Illumination. Like, I don't like any of the Minions movies.
After a while, I just can't give them the benefit of the doubt. For example, if a company came out with 5 bad products in a row, I think I'm in the right to be a little skeptical about their 6th one.
Like, okay, let me look up Illumination. The movies that they've made. Okay.
At least I wait until I see a trailer to at least say make a call, because we basically got no information other than what news articles came out.
Well, these are the movies that they've came. Well, I mean, look, to each his own. But for me, these are the movies that they came out with. Okay. There's Despicable Me. I like that movie. There's Hop. I did not like that movie. The Lorax. I like when they were pitching that and they were showing the trailers. I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. And then I saw it and I'm like, this is nothing like the book. I don't like it.
Yeah, people are not happy with that movie.
You know, it's so like the book, the Lorax. Like, if you want to see a good version of the Lorax, go fucking watch the
animation.
The animation from the 70s. It's much better. And it's shorter. It's less time, and it gets the message across. Despicable Me 2, I actually like that too. Minions, fucking hate that movie.
Yeah.
I was about to say, the Despicable Me movies, they actually are good, but do not watch any Minions.
Yeah, the Minions
please,
movies, I don't like
any.
The Secret Life of Pets. The first movie, I liked the idea of Secret Life of Pets, but I didn't like the movie. Sing. Once again, I like the idea of Sing. I didn't like the movie. Despicable Me 3, I liked. The Grinch, I did not like. The Secret Life of Pets 2 can eat shit and die. Sing 2 was actually pretty good. So, 1, 2, 3. I'll include all 3 Despicable Me's and Sing 2. So, I mean, right now they've got so, I mean, for me, they're at roughly like a little under a 50% success rate with their films. So, I mean, that I like. So, I mean, if you only make like
coin flip.
Well, it's less than a coin flip. It's like it because let's see. Let me get my calculator out.
Here we go again.
It's 50. Well, it's not a coin flip, because a coin flip is, people think a coin flip is 50-50, but it really isn't statistically, because not all coins are balanced evenly. So 11 divided, oh shit. 11 divided by 5 equals 2.2 times 2.2 times it's roughly like a 44% success rate. And I mean, I hate to break this to you, but if someone sold you a car and they said, "Oh, the brakes only work 44% of the time," would you trust that car?
Hell no.
Hey, I'll sell you these condoms. All right. What's the success rate? 44%. No,
that might as well have been what they said 50 years ago.
Actually, 50 years ago, they had like a 95% success rate back then, if they were used properly. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, Illumination, when you only like 44% of the output of a studio, that's not, like, that doesn't scream to me, like, I should be enthused about something, them making an IP about something that I like.
Yeah, well, I definitely reserve judgment. I can't lie and say that I'm particularly excited. It's just the record just shows, because myself differently. I only like the first Despicable Me. Didn't particularly care for the second. Third, I liked even less. Minions, I absolutely despise, and both Secret Life Pets I found, but second one I didn't like. First one I just found pretty average. They just and now they have that new movie Super Pets, I think that's them, with Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Kevin Hart
No,
in
Super.
cartoon form.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I don't know.
Hmm.
For me, my problem with Illumination is that Illumination really doesn't have like their signature isn't really a style or a quality. It's a formula that they use to make their movies. They get well known like people who are popular in media or Hollywood, and they get them to be the voice actors of their characters. They don't tell an engrossing story or anything like that. The only reason I like all three of the Despicable Me movies is because unlike Kung Fu Panda, where like the first Kung Fu Panda, I think is a really great kung fu movie. Just on its own, it's a really good kung fu movie. And then, like with each successive film in that series, they kept on resetting the character instead of having character growth. I will give Despicable Me the series this much credit thus far. Each movie grows as a character. Like what he learns in one film is carried over into the next film. It's not like Kung Fu Panda where like the first Kung Fu Panda the character finds out he's the chosen one, and then at the start of the second movie he's an asshole, and I'm like how did this humble character become an asshole in the second, like it's and learned nothing from the first movie. Like, you know, there is continuous character growth in Despicable Me. Like, in the first movie, Gru gets these girls he's going to use as a cover to do a crime, and then he winds up, like, actually...
regretting it?
No, well, initially he regrets it, but he winds up, like, because he adopts these three girls in order to as a cover for him to do this crime, but he eventually winds up realizing that, you know, I actually do consider my adopted daughters, like, I'm their father, they're my children, and I have to be a better parent than my parent was, because his mother, like, you see flashbacks to his mom in the first movie, she was a bitch. I mean, a complete, you know, speaking of Mother's Day, in all capital letters, bitch. Then the second movie, he falls in love, and creates a family. And then the third movie, like, someone's messing with his daughter, and he finds out that an old nemesis of his is willing to do anything in order to
get some payback.
The ultimate crime. Well, the ultimate crime. And now that Gru is working for the good guys, he's got to stop it. So, I mean, it's like, I can kind of understand, like, there's character growth between the Despicable Me movies, which is where I give it credit. And Steve Carell, you know, he's pretty good. But the other films that they do, like Hop, I mean, they made a movie about the Easter Bunny, which is stupid. They fucked up the Lorax. Minions can eat shit and die, as far as I'm concerned. The Secret Life of Pets, I didn't like it. Sing. I mean, Sing is a good idea. Like having.
I was about to say the Sing movies are popcorn fun to me.
The first Sing was fine, but the problem is that the execution could have been so much better. Like the idea is great. The execution sucks.
That's the reason why I say I call it popcorn fun, because it's not terrible. It could be better, but it's not terrible.
But then they did Sing 2, which is really fucking good.
Oh, yeah?
So it's like Illumination can do good stuff. It's just the problem is that they get lazy and they just lean on their fucking formula. Then they did The Grinch, which I hated.
They kind of remind me of late aughts DreamWorks sometimes, where they just really bank on that whole celebrity voice acted cast, a lot of references, pop culture songs, jukebox musical type things.
Yeah, that's basically it. Except DreamWorks will occasionally pull out something that's awesome, like The Bad Guys, which is great. You know. So I mean, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, I thought this was going to be a steaming pile of shit, but it actually was good. But as far as the Mario movie goes, I mean, there's nothing in Illumination's catalog and how their formula works that makes me want to believe that movie's going to be good. And when the first thing they did is announce Chris Pratt, not because he would be a good person to voice Mario, but because he's popular among certain people, I'm like, you're already fucking up.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for the trailer to at least see how it goes.
Yeah, that's all I can do. I guess another thing I'm also curious about is that Nintendo historically has always been very, very restrictive on adaptations of properties. You know, I know there's the movie, there's that comedy skit TV show. No,
Yeah,
not comedy skit. It was
it
that
was a
anime show.
comedy. It was a comedy skit show where like the opening and close and like the commercial breaks were bookended by like a live action with Captain Lou Albano and some other guy, and
Yeah,
then it had like little cartoons. And actually, that was fun. That was enjoyable
yeah.
because Mario didn't
And
sound like he got kicked in the nuts when he talked, like Chris Martinet's been doing for years.
and then Kirby had an anime that was on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, that
Outside of
anime
that,
was terrible.
I don't particularly remember anything else about it. Like I know a lot of people like it in an ironic way. I just wasn't one of those people.
They, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say I enjoy Kirby Right Back at Ya like I enjoy Donkey Kong
Oh,
the animation.
that's the other
It's
one.
cheese.
No, the Donkey Kong animation was shit.
cheese.
It wasn't even cheese. Kirby was bad, but Kirby was fun bad. Donkey Kong, the show was terrible. That animation, like people come back to me now and
that
they're
was
like,
really bad.
Reboot, the animation in Reboot and Beast Wars. Let me tell you something. Go back and look at the animation for the Donkey Kong show. You wish that animation was as good as Reboot and Beast Wars.
Oh man, that animation
Yeah,
is so
I-
bad. I remember it was a couple years ago. I looked at it because I remember I think it was you that brought it up. It's like let me go back and look and see. And then I was like, I looked it up. It's like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
this is shit. This is awful.
It's terrible. And here's the thing, okay?
That's the thing. The animation with Kirby at least keeps it from feeling like Donkey Kong, which is I'm gonna say this right now. Both of them have weird storylines, but Donkey Kong just takes it to another level of bad.
Well,
Yeah.
Donkey Kong had shitty writing. Like, say whatever you want to about Reboot and Beast Wars, but those two shows had good writing.
At least
hell
they
yeah.
tried. At least they tried with the budget that they had, the technology that
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
had
but
access to.
I
Unlike
recently
Donkey
looked
Kong, which was
cheap.
just
It was cheap. Yeah, it
just
was
cheap.
it was cheap, and the writing was shit. Like Kirby, and Kirby had a bigger budget, and plus Kirby, like the animation in Kirby was simplistic, but Kirby is a simplistic model. It's
Yeah,
not
it was
hard to
terrible.
draw.
Are you talking about the
Right
animated?
back at you, that
Kirby
Kirby-
right back at you. It was the
Yeah.
CGI,
Yeah.
Kirby right back at you, and DDD had a Cajun accent for some fucking reason.
No,
get that
of course,
Kirby right
they did a lot
now.
of weird. They did a lot of weird.
Where
things,
are the
but-
dinosaurs?
Yeah, I mean, like there was some weird 3D animation in the 90s
Yeah.
and the aughts. It was weird.
Actually, I remember Nintendo actually commissioned this one studio. You probably remember they animated that animated TMNT movie from like 2007 to make a Zelda series, and it just outside of a concept trailer, it never materialized.
I could see that. First of all, I'm just gonna keep it real. If Nintendo ever allows for there to be a Legend of Zelda animated or animated series like CGI or hand drawn animation, please, for the love of God, just don't have it be from the viewpoint of Link or Zelda or Ganon. Like, have the events of the story be told from someone else's viewpoint, kind of like how that F-Zero anime was.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. I think that'd be more interesting too. If they did it from a different.
I've
viewpoint.
forgotten about the F-Zero anime.
Because then you're not going to alienate people who are like, Link doesn't talk. Because I don't want to hear Link talking. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't.
Yeah, no.
No one wanted to hear
I was gonna
Samus
say-
talking.
Don't give the main cast. I mean the main character Link a line to talk, or at least speak directly.
Personally,
But at
my
least
point of view.
give it to Zelda, Ganondorf,
Yes,
at least one of those two.
No, because
exactly.
we've heard.
For me, I've always felt like for Legend of Zelda animated series, Zelda should be the lead.
No.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
All right, let's not say lead. Let's at least say the one who's actually speaking. Sorry,
No, she can
the most
talk.
dialogue.
Ganon can talk, but the main character should be a side character who's viewing these events from the outside. Because the reason I would prefer that is because people have their own ideas of what Zelda should sound like, what Ganon should be like, who Link should be like, and if you basically keep their characters how they are in the game, and then like you're not going to alienate those people who have those ideas in their head. But if you have a side character seeing these, like if you have a side character seeing Link be an absolute swordsman badass, if you see Zelda actually being commanding and doing cool shit, and if you see how they're doing the best they can and Ganondorf is still fucking them up, it's like,
That's funny. We need a surrogate character to follow our surrogate character.
I mean, every Legend of Zelda game that we've had, well, except for the first one, and the second one, it's heavily implied that not everyone just laid down their hands and let these people take over their land. Like there were people who were on the sidelines, like underground resistance, stuff like that. So it would make sense that if you did a Legend of Zelda TV show, that you would have, like, you could totally have, because I mean, you play Twilight Princess. And there's like the returners, who are these, not returners, forget their name of it, but they're basically other descendants of Hylian knights who are like, we're not going to let our land be taken over by the forces of darkness, like stuff like that. So it makes sense that there's other people who are willing to stand up. It's just Link is the guy who is courageous enough to get the Master Sword, which is the MacGuffin, is the only weapon that can actually hurt Ganon. So, you know.
AKA the Sword of Evil's Bane.
Yeah. Like, I know you haven't played Twilight Princess Louis, but there's
I have.
Oh, you have? Okay, there's a scene in Twilight Princess where the sages are like, we're gonna execute Ganon, and the only thing they do is piss him off.
Yeah, no, I see him. I was like, how are... I said, why did you just...
put 4 swords in his body?
No, they.
Yeah.
Well, one of
the
sages conjures a magic holy weapon, but it ain't the Master Sword, and he stabs Ganondorf in the heart where his chest is. It's like, die, bitch. And the only thing they managed to do is piss him off. Okay, the only thing, they pissed him off. He breaks his bonds. He kills 2 of the sages. The other sage is like, shit, open the Twilight Realm and throw that motherfucker in there. And they do, and that's your guys' problem now. So really, the sages themselves are the reason that the events of Twilight Princess occur, because they, instead of just keeping Ganondorf imprisoned, they threw him into the Twilight Realm, where he basically subverted that entire culture and caused used them as his troops to take over Hyrule.
Yeah, and appointed his own quirky Vader too.
Yeah. Who turns out turns out to be the brother of Midna, which is kind of weird because Zant looks fucking ridiculous, where Midna is hot as hell. But you know, I don't know. They don't look like their siblings at all. I was
gonna make the comment that we all get weird family members.
I don't know, but you know, Zant usurped the throne. It's implied, if you read the Twilight Princess manga, he killed his parents, and like it's just a lot of fucked up shit. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I'm saying that would make sense. It's like if they did a Metroid series, I don't want to see it done from the viewpoint of Samus. If it was done from the viewpoint of some characters who were just who retire from the Federation Marines or whatever, and they decide to become bounty hunters. And then, like, because you're discovering the world from the viewpoint of people who live there, but they're not part of the bounty hunting world. And you basically see Samus be a badass from the viewpoint of people from the outside. Because everyone agrees that Samus is a badass in the games. Like, you play the games, you're like, man, Samus is a badass.
Yeah, actually, what an idea I always had is I don't know if you ever seen the show on Adult Swim called Primal.
Yes.
So it's a completely silent cartoon. I mean, up until a certain point. But I always thought that Metroid series would just essentially be Samus kicking ass in complete silence, out just completely atmospheric, the whole thing.
That would be cool. Except the one problem is that would remind me too much of Other M,
Oy.
and I
Yeah, no,
hate
that's
Other
not a
M.
good thing.
Like
Yeah,
I think like in the way I envision an animated series with Samus for Metroid with Samus is that like you would have like maybe like maybe like four characters and two of them are former Federation Marines and the other two were just like maybe some aliens who were like, look, we got tired of working menial jobs. We finished our terms of service and we decided to join our stuff together, buy a ship, and become bounty hunters. And basically like they start at the bottom and they you know like they're trying to get jobs and stuff and there's other stuff going on around them. Like they find out about a stolen Aurora unit. They find out that a planet was hit with some type of comet that had phazon in it. They hear about you know, species SR-33 like killed a group of people on a ship. Like they hear about these things, and maybe like maybe have it be 8 episodes, and maybe like every 2 or 3 episodes, you have an event where they get in over their head, and accidentally they're saved by like you get to see Samus be a badass. Like
right.
they attack a ship and they're like, yeah, we're gonna take out this bounty with this guy, but they find out that the guy's doing a deal with space pirates. So then these four dudes who, you know, they're badass for like when they have like battalion mates and like air cover and all that shit. But it's just the four of them with like normal weapons, and they're like, shit, we're outgunned, we're outmanned, they're space pirates, we're fucked. And then Samus comes in and takes out these dudes like it's nothing. And like she gets the information she wants from the one guy, and she's like, well, you know, she looks at these dudes like, you guys are pathetic, and walks out, and they cuff the guy and they take him off to get their bounty, and they're like, shit, she really is a badass, you know, some shit like that. Like I really don't want to see like something where it's like the Samus show, because believe it or not, if you're just following Samus in like a TV show, that'd be really fucking boring.
Yeah, no, she'll always come out on top. I mean, of course, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but there's just very little obstacle for her. I could see that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like something maybe like Flash Core, she just, hey, let's see what's at this planet. Weird culture planet. Oh, well, learn this new thing about here. Ooh, Chozo stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, like I know people get angry when I say that. They're like, well, why would you want to see it from someone else's point of view? Because if you're a fan of these characters, you know these characters. If you're not a fan of these characters, it's weird for someone who's never heard of this character. So if you have an audience avatar, it might work. Just saying, because Metroid is not
Alright.
that popular. You know, Mario more
Uh,
popular, Legend of Zelda more popular, but you know, Metroid
well,
is. You know.
I guess before we move on, Saints, I'll just say one thing. I hate Other M for making people believe that Zero Suit Samus is more prevalent than she ever is. That's all.
Yeah, she's only in like 2 games.
Yeah.
But whatever. And actually, I think the big thing is Other M turned Samus from this strong, stoic, you know, woman who doesn't bend nor bow into a whiny defend it. Well, no.
Yeah, no, like I said, not to devalue her. I strongly just prefer Samus in her various suit. That's the image I think. I don't really need to see her in any other way,
No,
in my opinion.
the Zero suit can work if it's like, you know, like a powering down, like her suit breaks and she's got to use it. But as like a major thing, you know, if they made a Metroid Prime where Samus basically has to go to a civilian like space station and you're not allowed to have weapons on the ship, it would make sense for her to depower down into her Zero suit to walk around. Like that
Sure,
would make
personally, me,
sense.
I just don't see like it being expanded upon into something fully functional where that's just something she's just gonna have for an entire game.
No, her Zero suit's what's on underneath her suit.
Yeah. That's kind of that's all it is, and uh, some Smash fans, particularly, just kind of want to see that a little more permanently, and I'm like, oh,
Well, I
come
mean,
on.
you know, whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
Mafia 3 founder stepping down and is leaving 2K. Now, for those of you who don't know, Mafia 3 was made by Hangar 13, as was Mafia 2 and 1. For those of you who don't know what the Mafia series is, the Mafia series was basically one of those. It was one of those GTA clones back in the day, for all intents and purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
If I'm not mistaken, didn't Rockstar publish it at some point?
it was published by 2K.
Oh, never mind.
It was published by 2K, which also, runs. Yeah, it was published by 2K, but it basically is one of those, like the first Mafia, like you start playing and you're like, oh man, this is gonna be like GTA, but in the 1930s, and like the real Mafia. And it is one of the, like, how could that game come out in the same generation as GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas? I'll never understand, because the first Mafia is fucking terrible. God awful. Mafia 2 is better graphically, but it suffers from the same issues as Mafia 1. Mafia 3 feels like a GTA clone, except set in the 1960s.
Okay. And I believe the first two got remastered now.
Yeah. They re-released the third game as the definitive edition because you really couldn't remaster it because it came out, like, it wasn't old enough to be remastered. Personally, I prefer Mafia 3 just because, I mean, the story resonates a bit more with me. It's set in the 1960s South. You're dealing with a guy who's half black, half Portuguese.
Yeah, I think that's a big focal point since he's in the mostly Italian Mafia, right?
Well, his adopted uncle, like the guy who took him in his family, is murdered by the Italian Mafia, and he's like, they shoot him in the head. That's where he gets the scar in the promotional material, but he didn't die. And he's a Vietnam vet who basically did Black Ops psychological shit in Vietnam. So you can imagine how well that works out for the for the Italian Mafia. Suffice it to say, a lot of racist white people die in this game.
I'm sure it's the 60s in America.
Yeah, it's the 60s in America. What do you think's gonna happen in Louisiana? What do you think's gonna happen? Yeah. I like this game because any game that lets me play as a black dude killing racist white people, I'm okay with it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I get you. It's
Wolfenstein,
like Nazis. You
I
can't
get to
feel
shoot
bad.
Nazis. I mean, I don't know which one makes me happier. Killing Nazis, killing racist white people. Actually, Nazis also include racist white people. So, I mean, I don't know what makes me happy. There's nothing more happy. There's no game thing that makes me happier than killing racist white people in gratuitous ways. In this game, you can kill a racist white person and feed his ass to the gators to get rid of the body. Yeah, Mafia 3.
That sounds perfect.
Well, it is Louisiana.
What the fuck? How did he do that? Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, the Mafia 3 founder is stepping down. We don't know what's going on. Well, actually, we do. So Hayden Blackman, the founder of Mafia 3 developer Hangar 13, is leaving the studio and publisher 2K after serving 7 years as the studio's head. Announced in a memo addressed to the studio staff, which was provided to Polygon by publisher 2K, Blackman is stepping down to, quote, pursue his passion at a new endeavor. Blackman, who founded the studio in 2014, previously served as creative director on Star Wars The Force Unleashed and lead producer on Star Wars Galaxies. So he's got
What is Star Wars Galaxies again?
It's the MMO that basically, if you talk to hardcore Star Wars MMO fans, they'll say that SWTOR is shit and Galaxy was better.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that one. Continue.
Yeah, Galaxy, like, you know how SWTOR is basically World of Warcraft with a Star Wars skin?
Right.
Well, or like, I know they revamped the combat systems and styles and everything, but back in the day, it was just WoW with a Star Wars skin. Well, Galaxies was truly a very open MMO. Like, you could do anything. You could be a smuggler. You could be a spice trader. You could be a fighter pilot. You could be a miner. You could be a drug runner.
That sounds better because I truly tire of the Jedi bias going.
I mean, you could be a Jedi or a Sith, but it was hard to be a Jedi or a Sith because you couldn't just go like in SWTOR, you choose what you want to be when you create your character. In Galaxies, you had to go like before you could even learn to use the Force, you would have to start doing things that would raise your Force sensitivity. So like you'd have to like read books or find holocrons or like do certain things. And then you had to do a series of very abstract steps in order to become a Jedi or start down the path of a Jedi or a Sith. And then basically, like, that's how it ran. And then, like, even after you did that, you still would have to go and find an enclave to start learning your art, construct your lightsaber. I mean, it was really involved. But by the time you became a Jedi or a Sith, you felt like you earned that shit. Because you did. Because you did. Which made it a more impressive achievement. You know what I mean?
No, I can definitely see that.
Like when you spend 40 hours to make your character into a Jedi, you appreciate that more than when you're just playing SWTOR and you just play through the storyline and you get your lightsaber after like an hour.
So, head of Hangar 13, he was the creative director of this, you said?
He was the creative director of The Force Unleashed, and he was the lead producer on Star Wars Galaxies. So he's got some cred. He's got some credibility.
That he does.
Yeah. So Nick Baines, who's taken his place, who joined Hangar 13 in 2018, is served as the studio head of Hangar 13 Brighton. Will take over as studio head. While change can be challenging, it can also breed new opportunities and success. We are confident this studio is in great hands heading into the multiple projects currently underway, and the team has 2K's full support. With the recent swath of Star Wars games currently in production, one might wonder if Blackman's passions will see him returning to helm a new title in the franchise once again. Kotaku reports that former Hangar 13 COO Matthew Urban has also left the studio, which is said to be developing a new prequel to the Mafia trilogy. Fuck! I do not want a prequel to the Mafia trilogy.
How much further could you go back?
The thing is, like, Mafia 1 sucks. Mafia 2 sucks. Mafia 3 was good. I would love to see a sequel to Mafia 3, like a Mafia 4, where they go to the 70s, because then they could do total blaxploitation. Where you could have, like, basically John Shaft.
Yes. I want some Foxy Brown action.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I want. I want 1970s blaxploitation. John Shaft. Throwing motherfuckers out of windows, hot women, because they can keep on doing the Playboy thing in the 70s because they had some awesome Playboy collections in the 70s. I mean, yes, in the Mafia series, one of the collectibles you can collect by driving around and finding things, and all 3 games are Playboys. That's it. You only get the covers. You don't get anything else. But if you got it on PC, you can download a mod that lets you see the whole issue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
now that's research.
The fact that people either had the time to research or actually on the magazine that scanned those into the game, that's pretty crazy.
They probably went to the Playboy archive because all that shit's
I call that some early 2000s Kojima level of detail there.
Well, I mean, I hate to break this to people, but really, if you've ever seen Playboys from like the 70s, 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, it was considered scandalous back then, but it's really tame for now.
It's safe for us, yeah.
Wasn't Playboy at first meant to be like advice for men?
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, Playboy did have some really good articles from some noted authors as well. Like, you could see stuff from science fiction authors in there. There was a Playboy reel done by the guy who used to do the artwork for Superman, where it basically is like, what does Superman do when he's sexually frustrated? It was actually kind of funny. And anyway, my point is this. Hangar 13 is lost a lot of their head talent, which is never a good sign. I know they're like, well, no, this is a good thing. I'm like, is it?
Yeah, there's probably something going on inside the company, and they didn't want it to come out, so they're like, we'll just resign till We don't have to drag the content through this. We'll just.
I mean,
That's how it looks.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
That's just they knew about Ubisoft and Activision Blizzard, and it's like we don't need this, so we'll just take our golden parachute and head out.
I mean, that could be the case. Personally, I think, like, this is just my own supposition. I don't have any evidence to support this. I think that what's really going on is that those guys probably got news that someone's working on a Star Wars game that they really wanted to make, and they're going to go work on that shit. Or they just have, like, they're tired of being in the machine. Because don't forget, Hangar 13 had a ton of games that were supposed to come out. They just never really came to fruition. Like, they were working on a Star Wars game at one point that was like a seedy underbelly type of...
yes. Yeah, no, I remember 1313, I think it was called.
Yeah, something like that, where you're like a bounty hunter and you're like the seedy underbelly of Coruscant. It was actually really cool. That got canceled. There was like 2 other games they were going to make between when they did the remasters for Mafia 1 and 2. Those were in development hell. So maybe just at some point, like, the guy was like, look, 2K is not going to let me make the shit I want to make. So I'm going to go someplace where they'll let me make the games I want to make. So, you know. Because, I mean, like, I know I say that video games are a business and you're making a product, but for a lot of the people who are creating these things, it's a creative endeavor. Like writing a book. Like, if someone told you can't write this book, and every time you started writing it, they would basically come in and say, you can't write that book, but I want to write it. Like, my creative output, it demands that I write this book about this topic with, dealing with these characters. No. And that's basically what goes on with video games. Not on the programming side, but in the creative side of making games about a certain thing. So, I hope that everything works out, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Actually, didn't some if I'm not mistaken, a couple of the devs from Hangar 13 left to make some sort of immersive sim game. Blanking on the name. That was a medieval immersive sim fantasy.
Probably. Wait a second. I think I know which game you're talking about. Let me look it up.
It has a salad title. I remember that.
Let me check it. I have it in Epic Games here. Let me check. It's called forget the name of it. I can't see it.
Came out like in 2019, I think.
Oh no, I'm thinking of the wrong game. I'm thinking of that game that's basically like an open world first person RPG, but it's set in a low tech. Like there's no magic. It's like set in our world, but like you play a peasant who can't read, and it's like one of those games. It's like, yeah, this game is terrible.
Goodness, great. Kingdom Come Deliverance, that's what it was called.
Kingdom Come Deliverance, yeah, that's the game I'm thinking about. Yeah, that game is, I got the game for free off of Epic. I got the Game of the Year edition. I was like,
Yeah, and I did hear it was kind of choppy. I had a buddy play it. All right, yeah, because if I wasn't mistaken, I think it was some dudes from Mafia the Mafia studio that made that. I could be wrong, though.
Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance. This game is just, oh, God. It's a first-person realistic RPG that takes place in medieval Europe in a time of upheaval and strife. And it is like, oh man. I'm like, this game would be so much better if there was actual like magic or dragons.
So it's not in a fictional setting. It's completely grounded. Okay.
Yeah. And your character is a blacksmith who cannot read. You can teach yourself to read when you go to the bathroom in the game by getting a book, and when you sit down on the outhouse on the john and trying to read, and over time you'll get better at reading until you become literate, which is kind of cool. but there's like all these meters you have to deal with. Like you have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to. It's like God.
See,
This is
that
what
just
is this?
sound.
Is
Sorry,
this is this Flowers for Algernon, the game?
No, 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 no.
See, what it reminds me of is like an even more detail-heavy Shenmue.
No, nothing will ever beat Shenmue. Because
Oh,
Shenmue,
Jesus.
because actually Kingdom Come Deliverance, like once you level up Henry and he gets better at fighting and he gets better, like his stats go up, the game gets fun because you're big and bad enough to actually be able to do stuff. Shenmue doesn't. The only time Shenmue is fun is when you're fighting people, and the fighting isn't really that good. It's just everything else is so shit that the fighting is like worthwhile over.
Yeah, it's watered down Virtual Fighter for the time.
Not even Virtual Fighter, because the fighting, how you fight in Shenmue, or at least in Shenmue 1 and 2, I played 3, but I never got far enough to fight anyone. I gave up. Sorry. Is you press the directional buttons. You're not pressing buttons, you're pressing directional buttons. So if an enemy's coming up to you, you press the button in that direction, or you press a button to dodge an attack, or you press the directional button to counter. Like there's no the fighting looks cool in Shenmue, it's fucking sucks. If you want to play, listen, the idea behind Shenmue is solid, the execution is shit. You want to play a better Shenmue, go play Yakuza. Yakuza 1, 2, or 3. Those are much better than any of the Shenmues.
No, especially it's got a lot more heart, if you ask me. Shenmue to me just seems like pure day-to-day monotony, because I think that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, it is. Well, the guy who created it, Yu Suzuki, I think that's his name. I think. Let me look it up because I don't want to. I don't want to be Shenmue. Yu Suzuki. Yu Suzuki admitted that Yu Suzuki said he didn't like making enjoyable games. He just likes the process of making games. So he's like a numbers guy. He likes the idea of making a game and the process. But when it comes to making a good game, no.
Okay. What an odd statement to make, but all right.
Yeah. But he's made some good games. Like he made Champion Boxing, Hang On, Space Harrier, Enduro, Virtua Cop, Virtua Fighter 2, Desert Tank, Virtua Striker, Virtua Cop, Fighting Vipers, Virtua Fighter 3, Virtua Fighter Kids, Fighters Mega Mix, Sonic the Fighter, Scud Racer, Virtua Striker 2, Digital Dance Mix Volume 1, Nami Amuro, All Japan Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua, Fighting Vipers 2, Daytona USA 2, Ferrari F355 Challenge, Shenmue, Outrigger, that's actually a pretty good game, 18-wheeler American Pro Trucker, Shenmue 2, which sucks, Virtua Fighter 4, Virtua Cop 3, Outrun 2, Sega Race TV, Shenmue City, which was a mobile game, Virtua Fighter Cool Champ, Bullet Pirates, Virtua Fighter Fever Combo, and Shenmue 3.
That's a big gap between those last two.
Yeah, Fever Combo is 2014 and Shenmue 3 was 2019. Ew. My point behind all this is Yu Suzuki has made some great games. He's made some terrible games. It's kind of a, 6 on one hand, half a dozen on the other.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway. Yeah, shit. No, go ahead, Kenoshi.
Yeah, that whole thing Sony pulled. I think it was 2015 with the whole announcing the Kickstarter for Shenmue. I just thought that was so gross. It's like you're $1 billion company, and you're pimping out this man's name like this, and you're not even. I mean,
to sell PS4s for a game that took years to come to the system any goddamn way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you couldn't just like, you know what? Instead of making this game, instead of pimping out, like have a deal, instead of pimping out this man's GoFundMe or whatever they use,
Kickstarter. It's Kickstarter.
Kickstarter.
Yeah.
We can just we'll just throw some money at it and make this game exclusive to our system.
Yeah, but
I could have done that.
Shenmue's never been a big seller. So why the fuck?
I mean, I know.
Why the fuck would Sony put money behind that?
Then why bring him out on stage like that? That's
because they wanted to get people hyped up about the PS4. That was the point. It was to get people hyped up about the PS4. I mean, it would be the equivalent of Nintendo's next console saying, "Okay, guys, guess what? We bought Chrono Trigger from Chrono Trigger has been liberated from Square Enix, the IP." And we got we got all the original people who worked on Chrono Trigger. They're making Chrono Trigger, but we're not paying for it. It's on Kickstarter. They're making Chrono Trigger too, folks. But
Man,
you need a Kickstarter.
Now I look about it. Now that I think about its final goal, I think it was probably crazy to think it would make more than just making back its budget.
Yeah, well, Shenmue has never been profitable. None of them have ever been profitable. Shenmue 1 wasn't profitable. Shenmue 2 wasn't profitable. Shenmue 3 wasn't profitable.
Which is even crazier to hear now because it has an anime on Adult Swim, which I never understood how it even got one to begin with.
Well, Shenmue probably wouldn't make a good anime. It's about a young man trying to figure out trying to find his lost father, trying to find out who attacked his family's temple or whatever. So it's the hero's journey, him trying to discover who did this, and it's got awesome kick-ass martial arts. The problem is that the game isn't fun to play. That's the problem. Shenmue is not a fun game to play. Therein lies the rub. There's the rub. The rub is that there's nothing fun about Shenmue. It's not a fun game. But anyway, let's keep it moving. I thought we were going to cover the Saints Row reboot, but I think I'm the only one here who actually gives a shit about Saints Row, so I'll leave that.
This Saints Row is a game I kind of wanted to get into, but never could find the time or the motivation to really. I mean, I thought those games were interesting.
I respect the insanity that embraces that GTA lost for a period of time. I know there's a lot of contention towards Saints Row 4, but I loved its energy when I look at it, at least.
I mean, it's definitely goes in the direction I wish GTA would have gone in.
I mean, not to that level, but I wish GTA would have continued to be funny and stopped trying to be fucking serious, which is, to me, that's what kind of ruined GTA, is that they keep on trying to be serious. Like, we're gonna tell a serious story about a man going through his midlife crisis.
No,
it's like,
especially
I don't want to play a serious story about a man going through his midlife crisis. I don't really.
I mean, there's other stuff that does that.
Like I said, I love that one San Andreas mission where you go into an RC helicopter warfare battle with some random hobby shop on the other side of town. I thought,
so you can run the guy out of town. Or, even what they did in GTA 4 in the Ballad of Gay Tony, where you chase a guy down in golf carts, and then you tie him up, and in order to get some information and hit golf balls at his body until he tells you what you want to know. I want shit like that in GTA. I don't need any serious, ultra serious storytelling.
Right. This is the same series that has gratuitous dick jokes in every one of their games.
Yeah. Well, there's Cluck and Bell. Mm-hmm. There's Rusty Brown Ring Donuts, which is an asshole joke. Like play GTA San Andreas with those commercials. Like people talking about how they love Rusty Brown Ring Donuts. I love Rusty Brown Ring Donuts. or come down to the Glory Hole, which is in the game. It is it's kind of like a knockoff Disneyland, but
they have a drug called Spank, and I was like, oh goodness.
Yeah. It's. I mean, all I'm saying is this. I miss GTA when it was fun and not trying to tell serious. This is a serious story talking about the decay, middle-age crisis, and the loss of the American dream. Fuck you. I just want to have fun. But I think Saints Row went a little bit too far with GTA 4 with the superpowers. Little too far.
Sure. Yeah, and then I think it just ended up veering over the cliff with Agents of Mayhem, from what I understand.
Well, Agents of Mayhem is like a tangential game. Like, you have some characters from the Saints Row universe in there, but they're not the same characters from Saints Row. Like, you have Johnny Gat, but it's not Johnny Gat from Saints Row. You've got Kinsey Kensington, but it's not Kinsey Kensington from Saints Row 3 or 4. So it's
Okay.
like one of those things where it's like, you've got Oleg. You've got Oleg from Saints Row 3, but it's not Oleg from it's like they used a lot because it's the same engine. They keep on using the same engine, a lot of the same assets. Like, if you look at the Saints Row reboot, segue there, a lot, like, even though they're like, this is a brand new engine and we've never had more customization, I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, you guys are using a lot of the same assets from your other Saints Row games, aren't you? Saints Row 3, 4, and Saints Row and Agents of Mayhem, which doesn't bother me. I mean, that helps keep the cost down. That means they can spend less time on assets to work on other shit.
Of course, it's when you reuse assets and don't make any marginally noticeable improvements
Yeah.
on your sequel. Like, as much as I did enjoy Neo, I won't lie and say Neo 2 isn't a particularly too different of an experience. But that's Tecmo for you.
Yeah. Well, Neo, yeah, they did. They just reused all the assets. Except now you create your own character versus,
Right.
No, go ahead, Kenoshi.
Elden Ring and I think and Sekiro were probably the two most interesting Souls games that I've played. The rest of them are just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, and Souls reuses assets quite a bunch too.
I mean, I like Dark Souls 2 just for the idea behind it, but I have to agree that it wasn't really all that innovative.
Yeah.
It wasn't really like I like Dark Souls 2, but like, how can I put this? From Software has really good ideas for their games, but the execution is kind of like hit or miss for me.
All right.
Like, I like Dark Souls 2, but Dark Souls 1 I thought was frustrating as hell. I like Sekiro, but I think Neo, like, I tried to get into Neo, but I'm like, I don't enjoy this.
It's true. I wouldn't play Neo again. A big reason was the fact that it's just stage by stage, and personally, that format bored me coming from the more slightly open world Dark Souls games. And just to that, they have a bunch of mechanics brought over from Dynasty Wars, like the weapon crafting. I just couldn't get into it all.
Well, if weapon crafting is done well, I'm cool with it. But if it's just some tacked on thing, I don't like it. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I think some games could do with weapon crafting. Like, I remember playing Fallen Order. And I'm like, I want to like this game so much, and I'm really engaged and I'm enjoying it. But the last act of that game is just like, come on, man.
No, I hear you.
Come on.
I definitely hear it. Once you get the double lightsaber, I thought, oh, is this it? This is the only variety in gameplay. And honestly, outside of just deflecting a larger number of blasters, I just didn't see any noticeable change in my gameplay. Well, yeah, I guess you could hit twice.
The problem with that game is your lightsaber is too weak.
Yes.
You're basically it takes multiple hits to take down a scrub stormtrooper. I'm like, this is some bullshit right here.
No,
I think they wanted an excuse for you to dump the currency into your level up system.
Yeah.
That wasn't the best.
But even if you powered up your
That's
lightsaber, you still weren't one-shotting low-level light stormtroopers, which is stupid. Now, purge troopers, I can understand them being tougher. The bounty hunters, I can understand them being tougher. Some of the fauna, I can understand it being tougher. But like a low-level bitch-ass stormtrooper really needs to take 3, 4, 5 hits to take them down with a lightsaber? A fucking lightsaber.
Especially the ones that have those batons. I'm just like, oh please, this is so bull.
The only way Fallen Order you can enjoy playing Fallen Order is if you play it with a trainer that lets you increase the damage with your lightsaber, so then it actually feels like you're wielding a fucking lightsaber. Because if I go up to a low level stormtrooper and I hit him with a lightsaber, it's over. There's no, well, you gotta hit me 4 more times. No. It's a lightsaber.
Right.
Which makes the game much more fun because it's like here's what I don't understand about some Star Wars games. How the hell did they figure out how to use lightsabers in a game like Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight 2? A game that came out in the early 2000s. Games that came out in like 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. But now all this technology and they keep on nerfing lightsabers.
Right. No, that's one of the biggest concerns I had about a Souls game with Jedi, because one only way I could see it, if you really wanted to be accurate, is that uh, you have to be at risk all the time. I'm talking about 3 blaster shots and you're done. But of course, I can see how that wouldn't be very fun, and the trade-off being that you could pretty much 1 to 2 shot anything.
No, but the way that they would do it is they would give you smaller groups of enemies, or like certain areas would have tons of scrub enemies where you'd be overwhelmed with numbers. Because remember, that's how the clone troopers defeated the Jedi. They swarmed them with numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lightsaber, if someone's really good at using a lightsaber, you're not gonna. It's a lightsaber. The only armor in the Star Wars universe that can really stand up to a lightsaber is Beskar armor. And the only people who have Beskar armor are the Mandalorians. That's it. No one else has Beskar armor. You know, maybe Achani Cortosis weave stuff can kind of retard it, and you can create a vibroblade that might be able to stand up to a lightsaber for a while. But I mean, this shit where like it's taking 5, 6, 7, 8 hits to take on certain enemies. I'm like, this is some bullshit.
Yeah, I would see all those welding marks on them. They just look like someone's seared them with a flame torch. I'm just like, come on, just fall.
Yeah, this is bullshit. That's my biggest gripe with Jedi Fallen Order is just they nerf your force powers, they nerf your lightsaber because they want fights to be more challenging. And I'm like, if you guys do a sequel, you guys really need to change how you do combat. I know you guys want to keep the Souls-like thing, and like the traversal mechanics and like finding different routes and stuff is cool, and unlocking new abilities to traverse the environment and your little droid and stuff. That's cool. Using your force powers to open up new areas. That's cool too. But for the love of God. Okay, you don't want to make the lightsaber more powerful off the bat. Cool. Here's what you do. Let the little things you can unlock throughout the second game, like the little customizations, let that power up your lightsaber so that you can customize it for certain stuff. Like this, like you customize your lightsaber to do more damage against armored enemies, but against like non-armored enemies, like beast, like animal type enemies, it does normal damage instead of extra damage. Something like that. Like something.
Extended reach with slightly longer animations, whatever.
Just don't give me I hit a stormtrooper 3 times and he's still standing. With a lightsaber? With a lightsaber.
Every time I hear that, I think, I keep thinking I'm steering through these guys, but it's just so slow that I'm steering them back together, and they're like, oh, I'm still in one piece.
Yeah, this is the luckiest stormtrooper on Earth because he ran into the one Jedi with a lightsaber that didn't do shit.
Right?
It's like, your lightsaber ain't doing shit to me. My shitty Imperial mass-produced cheap-ass armor is totally standing up to a lightsaber.
It isn't like cutting through butter. It was like cutting through wood. Sheesh.
Yeah. Anyway, so our next topic, I thought we would cover the Star Fox developer Dylan Cuthbert, but I think we can save that for Wednesday. Babylon's Falls.
And what a fall indeed.
Just cancel it. Just cancel it.
It dropped down to It dropped down to one freaking player for a time. Then it bounced back up to like 40. But still, this is unsustainable.
This is also it is just so hilarious. The name Babylon's Fall. It aimed so high. It tried to be the next big thing, and it meets such a terrible, miserable end. It's just it writes itself.
Okay, we have a comment from one of our viewers. Hey, Red and Panel, are you going to do a Doctor Strange review? Not tonight. I'll probably do one like Wednesday. I'll do a Doctor Strange review. So
Yeah, I probably won't see the movie for a while.
yeah, but yeah. I'll probably do my Doctor Strange review Wednesday. My spoilery review. Anyway, so yeah. I mean, I think Babylon's Fall. I mean, at this point, they should just cancel the game. Like, I know everyone's under contract. Like, Platinum's under contract that they have to do they have to do certain content for it. So
yeah, there's some big roadmap for it.
But I mean, no one like you're not like okay. Final Fantasy 14 got turned around, but Final Fantasy 14 was if that game failed, it was going to hurt the brand. And Square Enix needs Final Fantasy 14. Square Enix doesn't need Babylon's Fall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think is going to happen is they're gonna release the content that they have Platinum's gonna release the content that they're contracted out for, and then Square Enix is gonna sunset the game. They're gonna be like, okay, we're done, and just pull the servers.
And I don't even think it's a month old yet. This game's barely been out a year, and it's just gonna shut its doors. I mean, of course, I completely agree that that's the only likely outcome. But damn.
I mean, what else? I mean, should they? I mean, at what point should you continue to pour good money after bad?
No, do you think they'll just go ahead and cheap out and get some? What do they call them? Just get cheap out and get some really third-rate community managers just to handle that game from then on.
No, they're just gonna pull the plug. It came out March 3rd, 2022, so it's a little over 2 months old.
Wow, it's already been that long, huh?
And it failed miserably. Well, for some reason, Square Enix keeps on trying to do games as a service, and I'm like, games as a service aren't going to be a thing. I'm sorry, it's just not like I'm not going to say games as a service won't be a thing. For you guys, it's not going to be a thing. You have one games as a service. It's Final Fantasy 14. Just support that. Follow what they did in order to make that successful, and then copy that formula. Stop trying to jump into it now with other shit. It's not going to work.
Yeah, no, they've been taking a beating, and if I'm not mistaken, yes, they sold off their entire Western branch too.
Yeah, they did. Well, not the Western branch. They sold off the studios, a lot of studios in their Western branch. IDOS, other stuff. I mean, it was
Crystal Dynamics.
Off their Hitman. They sold off like their and they're claiming because they didn't make enough money, they didn't sell enough. But I'm like, that's weird because here's why it's weird. It's weird because Tomb Raider, the last Tomb Raider game outsold Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII Remake has only sold 5 million units. Whereas the Tomb Raider game sold 6 million, like 6.5, 6.6. Okay. So, like, here's what some people are saying. Some people are saying that the reason they sold off IDOS and all those other studios is because they want to get their books in order so that Sony can buy them. Which is not going to be good for gaming, because Square Enix years ago, when Enix and Square merged, they bought up, like, over the 5 years after that merger, they bought up a lot of smaller RPG franchises that they're sitting on. And you cannot have all those JRPG franchises just under Sony.
That's right. Honestly, if Square did get bought out by Sony, I don't think they'd be interested in is having them maintain 14 and continuously milk Final Fantasy Remake and the occasional Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. But that's my own opinion.
Well, I know it's a popular idea. I'm not entirely sure of that happening personally. I just like to think that Square just finally has some clarity, hopefully, and just says, "Time for me to just sit down and uh, sit down and stop trying to be Icarus."
Well, I mean, I want them to be good, but on the other end of on the other end of the, on the other end of the spectrum, I mean, Square Enix is continuously messing up right now. I mean, you know, they're sitting on all these IPs that they're just doing nothing on.
Yeah, I mean, it's no wonder that the competition's starting to get pretty stiff now. Back then there was no name besides Square Enix. Of course, that was how I started. But all the other names are coming up. Hell, Falcom is actually a name now somehow because of Trails. It's just I think their brands are weakening. Myself, yeah, Final Fantasy in general is still pretty strong, but I don't think it's
It's not
peaks
what
or
it used to
valleys
be.
above.
It's
Yeah,
not what it used to be. It's Final Fantasy has slipped. Dragon Quest is kind of been on a downwards trend. Um, like the problem is that like what happened with Square Enix is that was when they were SquareSoft, when they abandoned their relationship with Nintendo and they went all in on the Sony train. Over time, that relationship, like over time, Sony began to pull away from JRPGs, which was Square Enix's bread and butter. And so basically, and they didn't diversify their things because even now, someone says Square Enix, oh, Final Fantasy, you know, Dragon Quest. Like you're thinking JRPGs, but big budget JRPGs aren't a thing for them anymore. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah, but I think they want to. It seems like they want to distance themselves from Western development because I think that's, for whatever reason, it's become a money sink for them. Like they haven't been able. I mean, it was back in 2013 when they were like, oh, Tomb Raider sold like 6 million copies and it was seen as a financial failure. And I, people make the argument that they're gonna chase the reason that they're selling off their Western studios to chase cryptocurrency. When I heard somebody bring up the point, it's like maybe they're just cutting out the fat and going to use it for other things. But then again, it is Square Enix. They have made a lot of dumb decisions for the past decade or so.
Yeah.
Personally,
No, go
I'm
ahead.
thinking, yeah, sure. Personally, I'm thinking the other way, where instead of them not wanting to do much Western development, I think they've shown nothing but being so desperate to appeal to the Western market that their native Japanese audiences just aren't as integral factors to them anymore. Um, yeah, their last couple Western Studios games didn't meet their expectations. But that's not new. Hell, they're even styling all their recent Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy games to more Western sensibilities. Action RPGs, which of course uh, are the more preferred ones, uh, currently at least. At least that's my take.
Um,
I mean, I agree with you. I'm just like this is my own personal thing. I think that I think they finally figured out that they don't have to like the Japanese companies that tried to make Western games. It failed. It failed for Capcom. It failed for Konami. It hasn't worked well for Nintendo. The only time Nintendo has done well making Western style games is when they got a Western studio to make those games.
Right.
You get like a Metroid Prime or Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong, like the a rare retro style game. Like a Japanese studio trying to crack the Western market. It's like, look, the reason people in the West buy your games is because they like the Japanese flavor. You know, I'm not
Mhm.
going to an Italian restaurant to eat sushi,
Right.
and I'm not going to a sushi restaurant to eat pizza.
yeah, unless you're looking to eat sushi flavored pizza.
Yeah, never, never.
Which they did. Which in Japan, if you go to like Domino's, they have
That
they
sounds
just get like
extremely
specialty
hearty right
dishes.
there.
They have
Which
weird.
they do. Yeah, they have weird pizza combinations. With,
Yeah.
like I think they have one with like calamari or something on it.
I mean, calamari I could
Shrimp pizza.
understand because calamari is actually pretty fucking good. But
Mm.
like
Yeah.
I've had pizza in Japan. Well, I didn't have it. Someone ordered it, and I saw them eating it. Where it was a ahi tuna pizza, where they took thin slices of ahi tuna and seared it, like put it through one of those fast pizza grill things, like broilers.
Something salty like mayonnaise on your already pretty cheesy pizza.
Oh no, there was no cheese on the pizza.
Oh, never mind then.
Yeah, no cheese on
All
the
right.
pizza.
You know what's also not right? A well done steak. But that's neither here nor there.
No,
Yeah.
no. The only time I will say a well done steak is good is if it's a cheese steak, because there's no
Yeah.
way you can slice something that thin and sear it in a pan and it not be well done.
Right.
You know, but if you're talking like a whole, like a cut of steak, like a ribeye or a sirloin, it's got to be medium, baby. Medium,
Yeah.
medium rare. You know, it's got to be, you know, either pink in the like the most done that I will accept a steak is pink in the middle.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
That's
No,
the farthest I'll go.
No, well done to me. Might as well just be a candy bar. The texture
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, when it gets to well done, it's like, yeah, I can't. Yeah, why not? But anyway, that's I guess we can nominate our a-hole of the week. We have three examples of a-hole of the week. We've got apparently the bad business practices that we used to jump on you know, EA and Activision for. Nintendo's also been doing in America. I don't know about Japan, but in America they've been doing it. So that's
Yeah,
one
they're doing
asshole
some
of the
weird
week.
stuff.
You know, the thing like, oh, we have a contract worker and we'll keep you on staff for like 9 months, but not let you go 10 months so that you'll become a permanent worker so you can get benefits. Then you have to leave, then come back after 2-3 months so that we can get you again.
Jesus.
Yeah, to reset the timer.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something that's just American or if that's just something that's.
I think that's an American
Mhm,
thing
yeah.
because in America we have shitty workers' rights. Because you know, America is the only country where we have been tricked into thinking that instead of the people who at the top who are holding everyone down, it's poor people that are the problem. You know, how dare these how dare this huge multi-billion-dollar company just had a record profits? How dare their employees want a livable wage and retirement? Those people are the problem.
Yeah.
Only in America. The other one is Bobby Kotick and Activision. Now, some people will say this is a good thing. Oh, well, they finally hired a female on their executive board. But I think it's a bad thing. They finally hired a female on their executive board just now. And not because they wanted to, but because they had scrutiny from the public. Because it looks bad for the boys club that it's been. And our third a-hole of the week is Sony for actually I'm going to lump Sony and Sega together because they're both doing the same thing. For basically creating a solution to a problem that they created in order to get more money from people. Okay, Sony's saying, yeah, we actually care about game preservation. No, you don't. You just want to fucking charge people to play old ass games.
Yeah, you see how well it's been working for Nintendo.
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of these IPs. We could do the same things. Like, well, for starters, half the IPs that you guys have actually have moved on to other consoles because you never own them. Or B, like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, for example, they never owned those. Those were owned by Universal. They just licensed out Insomniac to make those games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the major IPs that people love about Sony, those like most of those IPs were not Sony things. The IPs that like hardcore Sony fans like Legend of Dragoon, that's a Sony game.
Right.
Legaia Duel Saga, those are Sony games, but those games didn't sell Game Busters. The third-party shit, Sony consoles are third-party consoles. They've always been third-party consoles. Crash Bandicoot was a third-party game. Spyro the Dragon was a third-party game.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. So anyway, those are our three, actually, the third one are just companies that charge you money for solutions for problems they create. Another good example of this is Sony's charging you $90 for a headphone because they got rid of wired for a wireless headphone because they got rid of jacks for wired headphones in their devices, like their laptops and tablets and smartphones. So basically, you're charging me a fee to fix something that you fucking broke. Wow, you got some balls, which is what these companies are doing. So the assholes of the week are Nintendo for basically what Nintendo of America was doing, and then Reggie up there lying. This wasn't a problem when I was there. Motherfucker, stop lying.
Oh yeah, I had heard about that. That was a stupid ass thing to say. But yeah, I guess let's go ahead and vote.
So, who's the asshole of the week? Nintendo of America? Activision Blizzard? Or any of these companies that want to sell you the solution to a problem that they created?
For me, I think it's the last one.
Okay. Jewel?
Activision Blizzard.
Okay. You're the next one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess Activision Blizzard, especially now that they're dragging Microsoft into it. But honestly, I think Microsoft should just have better foresight.
All right. Okay. Then. All right. I guess it's AB Blizzard again. It doesn't matter what my vote would have been because it's 2 to whatever. So there you go. Activision
Actually,
Blizzard.
it's 3.
No, because you did AB, Kenoshi did the last one, which are companies that sell you the solution to a problem that they created. Louis did AB. I didn't do AB. I was going to do Nintendo of America because they have this goody-goody image, but they are just as fucking dirty as any of the rest of them. So,
Right.
like here's the thing: if I know someone's a piece of shit, then like Activision Blizzard, I know Activision Blizzard is a piece of shit. You can look at Bobby Kotick and tell, yeah, that guy's up to no fucking good. But Nintendo of America, they're, hey, we're the good guys. Ah, look how happy we are. Hey, we're your friends. Yeah, y'all just as fucked up as the other ones.
Yeah.
You two-faced motherfuckers.
I mean, Nintendo isn't. They're not your friend. None of these companies are your friend. They all got skeletons under their bed, in their closet. I mean, remember what? Nintendo played real hardball back in the 80s and 90s.
Yep. Remember those Yamauchi days?
Yeah.
Yeah. People forget that Nintendo wasn't this cute, cuddly bear.
I was about to say that even though that's true, I was about to say the worst of it is not from Nintendo.
I will say
that, but
I will say it's probably not as bad. Like, I don't think you're going to hear about people being sexually molested, but I mean, the same shit that we got on Activision Blizzard about with their contract workers, Nintendo of America is doing. I don't know about Japan, but I know that the work culture in Japan is different because in Japan, your work is your life. Like, people work themselves to death in Japan, so it's probably worse.
Just tell them, hang in there.
Yeah, it's probably worse in Japan. It's just they just deal with it in Japan. They just do it.
I just think we should just be consistent. We shouldn't let people just slide by because, I kind of like this company and what they do. So
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think that they're doing the same shit to the same degree as Activision Blizzard because, like I said, with Nintendo, I think that's just the way the business is, the industry is. You fuck over your contract workers. That's what all these companies are doing. They fuck over their contract workers. Microsoft does it.
Yeah.
Nintendo does it. Sony does it. Activision Blizzard does it. EA does it. They all fucking fuck over the contract because that's the way business works in America.
Yeah, I mean, that one game developer guy that was on a some guy's podcast that we used to hang out with. He talked about how EA and some of these other companies were, how strict they were, how heavy-handed they were with their deals, and I think even Ligers brought some certain things up too, because he worked on some games as well.
Yeah, he'd tell us. The gentleman I remember who you're talking about. He'd tell us how they basically, when he was a contract worker, they would basically get him for a certain amount of time. Like he's thinking, oh, I'm going to work myself up to having a stable job, and once his contract was near the end, they would pull it. They would cancel that contract so that they wouldn't have to pay the man benefits. Just like they do with temporary workers, where they're like, oh, we got to keep you under a certain amount of time so you won't get benefits and you won't be a full-time worker. That's basically what these people are doing. They grind your ass into the ground and then, make you get all your fucking work out of you. And then they're all like, well, we need
these programmers and stuff aren't making as much money as you think they are. Yeah, you think they're making like millions of dollars a year, millions of dollars with these games now. It's not.
The only programmers who might be making millions of dollars a year is if you are a small programmer who has a very small team and you guys basically get really good deals. Like if you're Notch, you make millions of dollars a year because Notch basically made Minecraft. It was a small team making that game.
Yeah.
But if you're not Notch, you're salary man. They're lucky if they make 90 to 100K, depending on where they live. But anyway, for me, my asshole of the week was not because everyone knows Activision Blizzard are fucking full of shit and assholes. It's an easy target at this point. But not for Mr. Nice Guy, we're your friends. But you guys are doing the same fucked up shit anyone else is doing.
Yeah.
You two-faced motherfuckers.
That's definitely a close second. I just find it annoying that just a few years ago, what's his name, host Sony, I was like, we'll play these old games. They're so ugly looking. It's just kind of like, man, you just don't get it.
You don't get it. Because most of the, I look at, here's the thing. Sony was like, oh, we're losing all of our business to the PC market. And I don't know, I can't speak for other PC people, but the reason I play a lot of PC games is for backwards compatibility. I can play games from the early 2000s, late 90s, no problem on PC, or very few problems on PC. I can't do that on the PS4 unless I pay out the ass for their games on PSN, and I'm cheap. I'm sorry, I'm not paying all that money out to Sony. Anyway, so that's the end of the cast. Anything you guys want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Project Console 7:30 Tuesdays. See you there.
All right. Jewel, Louis, anything you want to pimp out? Anything? Do anything? Creating a channel? Anything like that?
Oh no, not me. Just come back here next week, like next time.
All right. Okay, then I guess I'll pimp.
I was about to say I'll use my time to just say this: try to treat your mothers right tomorrow if you can.
I already did. I gave my mother a card and some money, so I'm taking her to dinner. I'm not surprised at that one. I'm taking her to dinner to a nice place, so that's the best I could do. Card, money, dinner. That's all I can really. That's all I can do. Anyway, that's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. Wednesday, I will be doing my spoiler-filled quick review of Doctor Strange. That's going to be kind of fun, I think. And I don't know what the other topics will be Wednesday. I'm pretty sure we'll come up with something. But we'll also go over Wednesday some other stuff that I think we'll be looking forward to. That's the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. I would say you could find me on Twitter, but left Twitter. So the only way you can reach me is via the chat section on
YouTube or
Discord. Or Discord. That is correct. So that's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. Peace and
hype responsibly, please.